Now, there is no doubt about it that there has been a major grudge between the two CEOs of Netflix. You got Greg Peters and Ted Sarandos. Now, we know that the main reason has a lot to do with the fact that Ted Sarandos is the very individual that is actually defending Meghan Markle, is greenlighting essentially any project that she comes up with, any proposal that she puts on the table. And so far, she's got the holiday special, she's got this upcoming travel series, she's got another adaptation associated with Netflix. We'll talk more about that as well. But what's interesting here has a lot more to do with Greg Peters and his overall behavior toward Meghan Markle in the midst of really getting this Christmas special all together as fast as possible. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, one thing about Meghan Markle right now is that, yes, we do know that she is trying to really just cross her fingers and hope for the best when it comes to the Christmas special, and we all know that this is probably going to be an even bigger ratings disaster than both Season 1 and 2 of With Love Meghan combined. Now, there are reasons behind that, because based on the leaks and everything else that we've been talking about for the past several days, has a lot to do with the fact that she's going to be reimagining the concept of Christmas in this special. Things will be reimagined in a very cringeworthy way, is the best way to really describe it. But what's interesting here has a lot more to do with Greg Peters and exactly what he's been up to. Of course, with Meghan Markle, with Ted Sarandos, the board of directors that are sided with, of course, you know, you got people out there like Ted Sarandos and some of the producers and executives on Greg Peters' side. So, it's a really interesting situation. There's a lot of division over at Netflix. Now, with the public, of course, already calling out Meghan Markle, given that the Meghan Markle drama is going out of control behind the scenes at Netflix and with other studios, one significant development going on now involves more to do with Netflix CEO Greg Peters and Meghan Markle herself. Now, a crucial update to this entire situation now involves how during the most recent creative meeting that took place for the With Love Meghan holiday special, is that Netflix CEO Greg Peters recently lost it with Meghan Markle, where he got very vocal toward her and even shouted at her multiple times. This all revolved around the fact of how Meghan is now giving full approval, of course, to Ted Sarandos, and most of the Netflix board of directors, of course, are going to go through with something that Greg Peters knows will create extensive backlash and multiple negative viral moments against Netflix. Now, where Meghan is set to lip sync and do similar dance moves to what she did in the pregnancy video to rap iterations of very popular Christmas songs for the Christmas special, is one proposal that she put out there that was approved by Ted Sarandos, something that Greg Peters is against. Peters got so frustrated to the point that he screamed across the room toward Meghan Markle that what she is doing is going to lose Netflix a very large demographic of those that are overly protective of this Christmas, of course, holiday. Now, the intense argument escalated to a point where Meghan Markle snapped back at Greg Peters, arguing that she knows what's best for Netflix customers and for the studio/company to keep them subscribed to the platform. This heated argument got so bad to the point that it left multiple board members very awkward and led to a moment where Greg vocally blamed Ted for giving the okay on something that will certainly damage the studio, especially in the midst of promoting the final season of Stranger Things. Now, this is when Greg Peters called off the creative meeting early to regroup with the producers and executives on the best cost-effective method of developing a trailer for the holiday special. Now, another reason why Greg Peters yelled at Meghan, get this, was that she was demanding the Christmas special trailer to be dubbed over with a rap version of Jingle Bells, with Meghan showing her dance moves in the trailer. Greg Peters described this as a monstrosity of an idea for a marketing campaign, and Ted Sarandos, the other CEO, is reportedly all for it and defending Meghan's proposals. Now, guys, I've said this so many times to the point that, yes, it gets a little exhausting, but I have to point it out all the time here, is that she definitely has something on Ted Sarandos. We probably will never find out, and sure, I could say the obvious. Let's just be real. We know the obvious answer to that, but there could be very, differing situations that could very well be going on behind the scenes. There's a lot of possibilities out there. But what's interesting about Ted is that the fact that now he's just bowing down to Meghan Markle again, after having moments of frustration with her for a series of weeks on end, when they were trying to get With Love Meghan Season 2 together. Now he believes that this Christmas special is going to turn things around. He believes it's going to be a somewhat ratings success. Well, sure, it will be possibly, and I say very possibly, very unlikely though, a ratings success in comparison to the other major disasters. It most likely will be a bigger ratings disaster than the both, and that's pretty much a given. However, of course, moving on forward, and Ted Sarandos, the other CEO, is reportedly all for this and defending Meghan's proposals. However, nothing has yet passed. The Christmas special is one project that Netflix is having just as much of a difficult time over as With Love Meghan Season 2, and they are all caught in a state of confusion on how to properly market this show, or should I say this special, for Netflix. Now, Greg Peters also pressured Ted Sarandos to back off from protecting Meghan Markle and defending her outright. Ted Sarandos refused and claimed that he believes that the holiday special will be an instant hit, unlike With Love Meghan Season 2, and views this as a reset for the face of Netflix and how they handle the Meghan Markle situation and the With Love Meghan brand. The grudge between both Meghan and Greg is said to be at an all-time high now. And you know what? Good for Greg Peters. This is why I root for Greg Peters, is because you don't really hear too much from him in the public eye, but there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes, and how he does seem to have a level head on his shoulders. He knows what he's talking about. He does have common sense, and unfortunately that's why the majority of the board members aren't backing him. They back Ted Sarandos. Basically, the board, for the most part, view Ted as the CEO, right, in comparison to Greg Peters. And Greg Peters is basically treated like the co-pilot, you know, in an airliner. That's kind of how the whole situation feels when it comes to the whole Ted and Greg situation, the whole power, struggle going on over there. But again, we know that there's a lot of things going on right now between the holiday special, between, of course, the Season 2 ratings failure that's still going down the tubes. We're getting more and more updates as the weeks roll by, and it's not looking good at all. There's no remedy in any, near future. They don't see any of that revolving around Meghan Markle's series. But again, we know one thing about this Christmas special: the fact that she's taking inspiration from her pregnancy video to do very near similar dance moves to rap iterations of popular Christmas songs like Jingle Bells and among others out there. I think it's going to make it very worse than what we've seen before, and it could very well be right up there with that pregnancy video that was infamous and spread across social media and even mainstream media for all the wrong reasons, mind you, because people were just calling it out and pointing out how crazy it really was. That's all the reason why it spread. But what's interesting about this yet again is the power struggle between Greg and Ted, and how Greg really did, let loose of his emotions on Meghan Markle. He really just was not holding back at this time, because he knows that the whole Meghan Markle brand, the With Love Meghan brand, it is tarnishing the image of Netflix. But overall, I would like to hear what everyone has to say about all of this below in the comments, anything ranging from Greg to Ted to Meghan and everyone in between. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.